Good evening to all of you present. In this satsang, which happens to be in the month of July, which in India is the month of Sawan, and it's also the month in which Baba Sawan Singh, Hazur Baba Sawan Singh of Behas, was born. We have a satsang to celebrate his coming into this world, which happened on the 27th of July of 1858. Baba Sawan Singh was the Sadguru that initiated my Sadguru, Sant Kripal Singh, and it was also of great inspiration to my second Sadguru, was Sant Jai Singh. So in my life as a Satsangi, I heard a lot talking about him, both from Master Kripal and from Sant Jai Singh. Of course, mostly by Sant Jai Singh. So he's a figure, that character that is very much present in my spiritual culture, I would say, in my spiritual bringing up, education. In many satsangs, Sant Jai Singh talk about him and revealing many tales, many beautiful stories about this personage. I never met him personally, of course. He died in 1948. But I understand him as my spiritual grandfather, and I love him. I love him dearly because for my spiritual formation he has been very important. I've been receiving lots of grace from him directly or from him through my Sadgurus. Many occasions we had celebrations about his birthday or his passing away from this world, in which in those satsangs there was such an upliftment, was such a blessing, such a transcendental consciousness, which was just amazing. So starting back from 1973 onwards, I've been attending so many celebrations, or I've been guiding myself so many celebrations of his days dedicated to him. He's coming into this world, he's leaving this world. And on all of these occasions, there was always very peculiar blessing coming from him, which I felt very much, which touched me very deeply, and which helped me a lot. So obviously, when you get so much blessing from somebody, then you begin to love the person. When you hear so many stories told by your Sadgurus, with whom you relate personally in a living way, then obviously you begin to love this person because they were talking with such high terms about him. So that's how I developed this love, devotion, appreciation of this person whom I never met physically, personally. So to celebrate this day, I will be singing two songs, two bhajans. One from Sadhguru Kripal, dedicated to his dearly beloved master Baba Sawan Singh. And then I will sing one poem that I wrote years ago, to which I attach a melody, and I will try to sing it in English. Usually I sing it in Italian, but this evening I try to sing it in English. So most of you who do not speak Italian may understand it directly while I sing. Then I will try to comment on it, sentence by sentence, strophe by strophe. So to begin with, as I said, I'll be singing one of Master Kripal, which is very famous to all Satsangis, and it's Aja Pyare. I'll try to sing it in a melody which is rather uncommon. In most of the Satsangis have been attending retreats with me, they've heard it many times for sure, but it's a rather difficult melody by which is used by very few people. So I begin with Aja Pyare. Aja Pyare Satguru Aja अपनी सूरत मैनू बकजा आज प्यारे सतगुरु आजा अपनी सूरत मैनू बकजा सीधी सादी सूरत तेरी प्यारी प्यारी मुराद तेरी सीधी सादी सूरत तेरी प्यारी प्यारी मुराद तेरी चेहारे रब दा जलवा दिसे दिल नुल बावन वाले आजा आजा प्यारे सतगुरु आजा अपनी सूरत मैनू बकजा सोना माता चीती पगरी नूरे चमके हारे लिब लगरी सोना माता चीती पगरी नूरे चमके हारे लिब लगरी अंकिया प्रेमा प्याले बरिया बारे बहुत नूर पलते आजा आजा प्यारे सतगुरु आजा अपनी सूरत मैनू बकजा जुल्फा तेरी रेशम तारा नूर अलाई दिया तेन चमकारा जुल्फा तेरी
resham tara nure alai diya din chamkaram İkbal sirdi utta dave alam bara aja aja प्यारे सतगुरु आजा अपनी सूरत मैनू वखजा मुकरा सुआवा सहज दुन बानी सुन सुन पावा कंत निशानी मुकरा सुआवा सहज दुन बानी सुन सुन पावा कंत निशानी रासिल बेनियाती mituri boli mitvan tapate hirde diya ja aja pyare सतगुरु आजा अपनी सूरत मैनू वखजा सुची दारी छति ते आवे बागी हो nur varsave suchidari chati te ave bagi ho nur varsave lali namdi bapai mare गरीबी सीखवन वाले आजा आजा प्यारे सतगुरु आजा अपनी सूरत मैनू वखजा आजा प्यारे सतगुरु आजा अपनी सूरत आजा प्यारे सतगुरु आजा
So as I said before, this is a bhajan by Singh, and the refrain of this bhajan says, "Come, beloved Sadguru, come, show me your face, your beautiful, beautiful face, your resplendent form. You are the one who attracts my heart. Come, come." So now I try to sing this poem of mine, dedicated again to Hazur Baba Sawan Singh, in which I try to express my understanding of him, my appreciation, my gratitude, my bhakti or devotion. So I try to sing it in English. Sorry if my pronunciation is not always the best. I hope you understand anyway.
Swan, resplendent swan, come to enlighten my mind, to enlighten my mind, revealing the astounding truth. Swan, resplendent swan, come to enlighten my mind, to enlighten my mind, by revealing the astounding truth. Savan, with your magic charm, you enchanted the mind of all. Swan, with your magic charm, you enchanted the mind of all. Eastern and Western, educated and illiterate, they all came to your door. Swan, resplendent swan, come to enlighten my mind, to enlighten my mind, by revealing the astounding truth. Savan, this Sangat has come together, and surely he was waiting for your arrival. Savan, this Sangat has come together, anxiously we are waiting for your arrival. All together we sing bhajans, the melody's pure harmony. Swan, resplendent swan, come to enlighten my mind, to enlighten my mind, revealing the astounding truth. Swan, your lovely face dissolves the feathers of every soul. Savan, your lovely face dissolves the feathers of every soul. For from your sparkling eyes emanates a light that the soul, the devotee crave. Swan, resplendent swan, come to enlighten my mind, to enlighten my mind, revealing the astounding truth. Swan, you were a great example. You redeemed the most wicked being. Someone, you were a great example. You redeemed the most wicked being. Without you, our lives would be a terrible mess. Swan, resplendent swan, come to enlighten my mind, to enlighten my mind, by revealing the astounding truth. Swan, pride of Jaiman, you have glorified his name. Swan, pride of Jaiman, you've glorified his name. You've transmitted his power to so ever being thirsty and wanted to drink. Swan, resplendent swan, come to enlighten my mind, to enlighten my mind, revealing the astounding truth. Sawan, many great masters have blessed this world. Sawan, many great masters have blessed this world. You were like the cream that covers this sweet cake. Swan, resplendent swan, come to enlighten my mind, to enlighten my mind, revealing the astounding truth. Sawan is given to this world precious treasures never seen. Someone is given to this world precious treasures never seen. Somana the great, the intoxicated Mastana, the resplendent diamond Kirpan. Some resplendent swan, come to enlighten my mind, to enlighten my mind, revealing the astounding truth. Some resplendent swan, come to enlighten my mind, to enlighten my mind, revealing the astounding truth.
So this is a poem that I wrote a few years ago, as I said, out of my love, devotion, and appreciation for this great being that was Hazur Baba Sawan Singh of Bias. Why was he so great? Why do I say, and so many millions of people, I would say that he was so great? Obviously, we become great because we lead a very special life. It's our life that reveals our greatness. So Baba Sawan Singh was great because he lived such an exemplary life, giving to the world a great example of how should a human being live in order to manifest into this world something great, something meaningful, something special that may enlighten the path of the life of many other people who are seeking for truth. So Baba Sawan Singh, as far as I know, was maybe the first master who was able to bring the path, the teachings of the path, to such a huge number of people. He was such a charming being. That's why I call him Swan, or resplendent swan, because to me his intrinsic quality was very much that of a swan, of a very pure, holy being. That's why in this poem I say resplendent swan, because that's how I understand him. He was like a swan that he may swim on waters which may be clean or dirty. be of any kind, but it doesn't get snared with anything because he's so innerly pure, because he is so innerly holy. And he led a very holy life, even before meeting his master, Baba Sawan. His life was a life of quest first. The beginning of his life, of his years, he was a quest, a seeker for truth. He was looking for truth. And his father was also always interested in listening to satsang of many Mahatmas. So whenever he heard of any Mahatma, he had this habit of going to listening to them, have their darshan, listen to their holy teachings, to their inspiring teachings. So he took along with him also his son, that was Baba Sawan Singh. And therefore, Baba Sawan Singh, since his childhood or boyhood, teenager, he was used to go and listen to satsang of Mahatmas. And so his mind was shaped this way. He was seeking for truth since his very youth. And he heard many, many teachings. He listened to the teachings of many Mahatmas. And in India, there are so many paths. There are so many Mahatmas giving different teachings. So he became accustomed, he became acquainted with several teachings. So even being born as a Sikh in a Sikh family and in the Sikh religion, he heard Mahatmas talking about different kind of yogas, Vedanta included, different kind of philosophies. Therefore, he had a very wide range of notions about different kind of aspects of the spiritual quest. That's why later on, when he became a master, he was able to give the teachings in such an appealing way, because he could take inspiration from many sources. And the best knowledge that we may acquire, it is the one that comes directly from listening to the teachings of living masters. Yes, the books also are there by which we can be inspired, from which we may acquire knowledge. But the best way of acquiring knowledge is coming into physical contact with living masters, listening directly to their satsang, to their teachings. Then these go deeply into our psyche. They leave very deep impressions into our mind that we never forget. That's why Master Kripal used to say, books do not give the same impact, the same, they do not convey the same thing that my direct words convey. When he gave his satsangs, his disciples might remember, or those who have read his teachings, they might have come across this. He's telling very often, this, what you're getting here now, you do not get from the books. Because the books, yes, they give the teachings, they convey the teachings, but they are not alive. Live satsang is different than reading from a book, is different even from seeing a video afterwards. Even this very video that we are having now, this satsang, this live satsang that I'm now giving, if you listen to it now when it's live, direct, even if you're not everybody sitting in the same room, in the same place, but we may scatter all around the world, still, it is a live satsang, and there is a direct link, there is a direct inspiration. It's something different. And if you listen to the same satsang tomorrow or after a month or after a year from YouTube or anything. So live satsang is something different than any other thing. And it is the best way of acquiring knowledge, to receive impressions. Master Kripa so beautifully used to say when he was giving darshan, when he was giving satsang, you just look to the master, look into his face, look into his eyes, absorb the impressions, close your eyes, and just hold them there deep inside of yourself. This is the way of receiving very deep impressions that stay with you all your life. That's why even if my Sadguru Kirpal has left this body 40 years ago, still I have such a vivid remembrance of any moment spent with him, of any satsang that I listen from him directly, from any experience that I had in meeting him, in spending time with him. So as I was saying, spending time in the company of Mahatmas, it's always a very great blessing. So Baba Sawan Singh had this privilege of spending time with several Mahatmas, and he got a wide range of knowledge from many of them. And eventually when he met Baba Jaimal Singh, who came from the same Sikh religion, but he has something added to it because he was a disciple of Swamiji Maharaj, who was a living Sadguru, and from him, by listening to his satsang again, he could acquire the very esoteric, deep meaning of the Guru Granth Sahib, not just what normally religious people, priests, and so forth understand of it, those who believe but don't see. Because I say often there is a vast difference in between experiencing, seeing with one's own eyes, and reading the words, believing in the words, believing in the doctrine, believing in theology is quite different than experiencing. So Baba Jaimal Singh had this good luck of meeting Swamiji Maharaj, who was a living Sadguru, like all those great living Sadgurus of the past, like Guru Nanak, like Kabir, like the founders of the ancient religions, Jesus, Muhammad, Moses, or Zoroaster, or anybody we want, Guru Nanak. So Swamiji Maharaj was a living Sadguru, and Baba Jaimal Singh had the good luck to meet this living Sadguru. So he heard Swamiji Maharaj commenting many times the Guru Granth Sahib. So he acquired this very deep knowledge, this very deep understanding of the teachings of all the Sikh Gurus and all of the Mahatma that write poems included in the Guru Granth Sahib. So he had the real knowledge, the real understanding of the teachings. And Baba Sawan Singh, when he met Baba Jaimal Singh, he could listen to his satsang and acquire himself the same knowledge that Baba Jaimal Singh had acquired from Swamiji Maharaj. So anyway, eventually these two great beings, Baba Jaimal Singh and Baba Sawan Singh, met, and strange enough, Baba Sawan Singh, in seeing the very first time Baba Jaimal Singh, he didn't notice anything special in him, but Baba Jaimal Singh noticed something special in this man passing by him. There is this very nice story of Baba Jaimal Singh going with Bibi Ruko to Muri Hills on the mountains on the Himalayas, where Baba Sawan Singh was working as an engineer. And once on a day, Baba Jaimal Singh was walking on a road accompanied by this friend of his, that was Bibi Ruko. And at some point they saw this other man, young man, coming the other side, coming their direction. So Baba Jaimal Singh, in noticing this man, he saw something very special in him. And I'm sure he understood that, my God, I've come to this place for this man, because this man is something special. He must have seen something very special in his face, in the light of his eyes. So when he passed by, Baba Sawan Singh didn't say even hello, or hi, or namaste, or satnam, or sat Sri Akal, as the Sikh normally greet each other. He didn't say anything, he just passed by and went on. But Baba Jaimal Singh told Bibi Ruko, you see, I have come to this place for this man, And Bibi Ruka was very surprised. She said, how come if you have come for this man and he doesn't even greet you, he doesn't even look at you? And he said, well, he doesn't know, but I know. And you will see in a few days, he will come to listen to our satsang. So it so happened that eventually, after a few days, Baba Jaimal Singh went to Mauritius to give satsang. And in a few days, Baba Sawan Singh heard that a Mahatma has come to this town to give satsang. And he's from the same religion of yours. He's a Sikh. So since, as I said before, Baba Sawan Singh had this habit of going to listen to satsang of Mahatmas since his boyhood, maybe since his childhood with his father, he did the same, of course. He went to listen to the satsang of Baba Jaimal Singh. And it is said that when he arrived there at the satsang, after the satsang, he put so many questions to Baba Jaimal Singh about so many spiritual topics because he had his head full of concepts. He had his head full of ideas, of teachings and informations that he had been getting by listening to these many Mahatmas, as he had been doing. So it is said that the audience became annoyed by all the questions that he put to Baba Jaimal Singh. But Baba Jaimal Singh, knowing who was this person and seeing in him something special, was not bothered by this, and he listened to him patiently. He answered these questions, and anyhow, Baba Sawan Singh went back again to listen to his satsang. He fell in love with this Baba Jaimal Singh. He fell in love with him more and more. Eventually, he asked for initiation. He took up the lifestyle of a satsangi, and he became the very beloved disciple of Baba Jaimal Singh. They became very good friends. Besides being master and disciples, they were also very good friends. And we heard, we have read, we have been told that anytime he had holidays free from his job, he would go to listen to the satsang of Baba Jaimal Singh. Very rarely he went to see his family. And he had a family with 3 children. He had a wife and 3 children, but he went very rarely to see them. And most of the time, when he had days off from his job, he went to have darshan and listen to the satsang of Baba Jaimal Singh. Just because that was the thing that mattered the most to him. Family, children, they are important. Of course, we have to take care of them. But above all, we have to take care of our spiritual evolution. The main task that we have when we come into this world is reaching moksha, reaching Sachkhand, realizing the supreme truth. This is the first duty to ourselves, to God, and to mankind. If you're able to do this, then any other thing may be secondary, come on, second level, third level, any level. So for doing this, we may neglect anything. If you neglect other things for any other thing, then we are just irresponsible people. But for seeking God, for seeking liberation, for seeking enlightenment, then yes, we may neglect any other thing. Because this is the most important thing in life. This is the purpose for which we are mainly born into this world. So, Baba Sawan Singh became the great devotee of Baba Jaimal Singh, and he spent so much time with him. It is said that when he went to Behas, since at the time there was no other buildings, Baba Jaimal Singh was a very simple man. He had left his hometown called Guman, the village in which he was born, and he had gone to live on the banks of River Bias once he retired from the army duty that he had. That was he was. He was a soldier saint. That's how Master Kripal used to call him. He wrote a book, Master Kripal, in which he calls the life of Baba Jaimal Singh the soldier saint. So he was a soldier, and eventually retired from this activity of his. He had a small pension, and he wanted to be in solitude do his meditation, be at peace. So what did he do? He left even the village, which was not very far from where he eventually settled down, near the Beas River. He built a small hut for himself made of mud bricks. It was a small room, something very simple. And he lived there. He did his meditation. Eventually, Bibi Ruko went to live with him and took his service. And she really did all her duties to him and loved him very dearly because she understood him as the embodiment of Swamiji Maharaj. Bibi Ruko was also initiated by Swamiji Maharaj, and she wanted very much to have a sadhu, a holy man who would spread the teachings of Swamiji Maharaj in Punjab. So since Baba Jaimal Singh was from Punjab and he began giving satsang there, she went there and took up his service, and she really did everything for him, even going in the morning long distances to the Bias River, which was not very near to where he was settled down, and take the water for his bath, cooking his food, and taking care of any aspect of his life. So anyhow, eventually Baba Sawan Singh also joined this army of seekers after truth, of these intoxicated people, satsangis, devotees of the Lord. So he spent much time there, and when we used to go to Beas to see his master, since there was no other room, it is said that he would sleep under the bed of Baba Jaimal Singh. He had this privilege given by his master to sleep into his very room, the only room that was there, and sleep under his bed. This shows that there was a very deep love between them. There was a very deep friendship also, because you might have satsangis, a master might have satsangis that love him or attend his programs and anything, but you don't allow everybody to come into your room and especially sleep under your bed. So since Baba Jaimal Singh allowed this to Baba Sawan Singh, it means he really loved him very dearly, and also he was very much loved by his disciple. So anyhow, Baba Sawan Singh became his main disciple eventually, because he was the one who really dedicated his whole life to him. Even while having a family with 3 children, he chose to put above all his Sadguru, serve him, help him in all possible ways. He financed his mission as much as he could. He built a well for him because he wanted him to have water right there where he was and not just go to the river and bring it from there. He built a satsang hall for him. He built a building for the sangat so that some people at least could have a shelter, could have rooms in which they could sleep, and everything he built with his own money. Baba Jaimal Singh was even not inclined to have all these things because he didn't want to be bound to anything. He was kind of a sadhu, and he wanted to be free from any bond. So he was not really in agreement with him in the very first beginning. He didn't want these things to be built, but he insisted, it doesn't matter, you don't feel bound to this place. But he built them anyway because they be good for you. And when he built this satsang room or satsang hall, which was not very big, but was quite something. Baba Jaimal Singh said, well, don't do it. Why do you want to spend all this money on this? And he said, no, I do it. If you give me permission, I want to build it. And I don't care if you later on leave this place and go somewhere else. Even if you're able to give satsang in this hall, I'll be paid for my efforts, for my sacrifice, for my seva. So this really shows who will be able to say such a thing to his master, and build something which costs so much money, and if you're just able to give us satsang in this place, I have enough of it. That's enough for me. I would ask to any of you listening, would you be able to do such thing? Would you do it? I don't find many people like this. So this shows that Baba Sawan Singh was this real devotee. He was this real satsangi who cared above all about his master, and anything that his master did was for him the most precious thing on earth. So this is a life. This is a life of an exemplary man. This is a life of a real seeker after truth. And you know, real seekers after truth, what do they do eventually? They realize truth. So they become the mouthpiece of truth. And that's what Baba Sawan was. He was, yeah, the mouthpiece of truth. He became so much the form of his master. He became his gurumukh. He became his mouthpiece. The person through whom Baba Jaimat Singh kept working after leaving this world. So you're right, Baba. Seven resplendent swan come to enlighten our mind by manifesting the astounding truth. So this is what I felt when I read this poem. I was very much in his remembrance. I was very much in his love. And out of this love which I was feeling for him at the moment, at the time, this poem came out. So it was a prayer. It was a prayer to him, whom I understand to be the guru of my guru, my Paran guru, my great guru. So this is a prayer of somebody who is yearning for truth, somebody who wants to manifest the light in his life. And he asks, he prays to that master, to the Sadguru, from whom he has gotten so much blessings already, to keep blessing and manifesting this astounding truth by enlightening the mind of the person. So when do we realize this supreme truth, this astounding truth? When by the grace of God coming to us through our Sadguru, we get this incredible enlightenment. Our mind becomes enlightened. Then the truth becomes manifested. Because as far as we are in darkness, we cannot manifest this truth. When the light is lit within us by the grace of God working through us, Guru, or through our Sadgurus, then our mind becomes enlightened. Something within us awakens, and we are able to see the life with a completely different perspective, completely different eyes. We don't see this disconnected life, everything being separated one from the other. We don't see this division, this duality which is prevailing everywhere in life, this fight among things, these opposites. But we eventually see the united link behind this apparently division. So when we are given these special eyes by which we see the thread that eventually binds together everything, that eventually links together all these seemingly contradictory and fightingly events of life, facts of life, then yes, our mind becomes enlightened, and we really step above the common human condition, the ordinary human state, and we become enlightened beings. So this is a prayer to the Sadguru that I love because of all the grace that I've been getting through him and from him, to enlighten my mind and to manifest this astounding truth. Then he says, Sawan, with your magic charm, you entranced the mind of all, Eastern and Westerners, educated and illiterate, they all came to your door. And that's how I understand him. He was a very shining being, a very charming being. He was able to attract to his satsang so many people from all over the world and from all over the, the social stratums, from any caste, from any social condition. Not only the learned person felt his charm, but also the illiterate ones felt his charm, because in his satsang there were people from all the shades of life. In India, there are so many castes, there are so many divisions in this society. This is one of the terrible things of this Indian society, I must say. One of the things which most of the people do not like. Even the Indians themselves, at this point, do not like. Those who are a bit of better understanding, those who have a broader mind, those who are more learned, more civilized, so to say, they don't like anymore these divisions in castes and subcastes and so on and so forth. So he was a master who welcomed everybody. He didn't make any difference between castes, between learned and unlearned, between Easterns and Westerners. No, he didn't make any difference. He welcomed everybody. This is what these great sadgurus do. They don't make any difference. They don't understand a person to be different than the other because one is learned, the other one is not learned, one is wealthy or one is poor. No, we are souls. First of all, we are souls. We are all seekers after truth if you are seeking for it. And anyway, even if you are not seeking for it, when we come into this world, whether we are aware of it or not, we are all seeking for truth. Any direction we may have in life, any conviction we may have, we are anyway in this world to seek for truth, whether we are aware of it or not. So anyhow, he welcomed everybody, because that's how he saw people. Seekers after truth. People who needed light. It didn't matter. It doesn't matter the social condition from which you come. It doesn't matter how learned academically or unlearned you are. No, what matters is your sincerity. What matters is your love, your devotion, your sacrifice. Very often, people who are learned, they find it even more difficult to go within and to experience something higher, because the mind works too much. Master Kripa used to say a very beautiful story to illustrate this, of two people, one learned and one unlearned, going to a master. And they came to the master and they said, "Master, we are seeking for truth." And he asked them questions, and how learned you are and how unlearned you are. So one said, "I am very learned because I've been studying, I have degrees and this and that." And the other person said, "Sadhguruji, I am no learning of any kind. I'm a very simple man, but I'm really wanting to understand this mechanism of life. I really want to understand why I'm here, what is the purpose of life." So this master said to the first person, the one who was learned, "Okay, if you want to be initiated by me, you will have to pay this much." And to the other person who was not learned, he said, "From you I don't want anything." So the learned person became upset and he said, "How come? I've been studying so much and you want me to pay to get your teachings, and this person who does not know anything, you don't make him pay anything." Well, he said, "Because you see, you are so learned that first of all, I have to make you unlearn. So I have to work a lot with you to make you simple-minded somehow, because you have such a complex mind." And he is very simple. So anyhow, he told them, "You know what? In order to see the light, you have to climb this stairway, this ladder. Just go up, open the door, which is up on the roof, and you will see the light." Of course, this is a metaphor to illustrate something, to make us understand something. So the learned person began asking questions. They said, "Oh, how am I sure that I will make it to reach the roof? This stair doesn't seem so safe. How safe is it? How many steps there are to reach there? And is it slippery? Which wood was used to build it? How long it took to build this? And so on and so forth. So, the master became kind of bored by all these questions. And anyway, this man never made it yet. He was afraid. He had too many doubts. He didn't go up the stair to open the roof and see the light. But when the master told to the simple man, okay, you go up these steps and open this door and you will see the light. The simple man, he didn't ask any questions. He just went up, opened the door up there, and he saw the light. So that's how sometimes our learning makes our life complicated. Sometimes it helps us. We know Master Kripal used to say that a learned person may give the teachings by giving so many examples. So it's like a garland of flowers around his neck, because this learning allows him to give the teachings in so many ways, by explaining them from so many points of view, from so many perspectives. A learned man will use mainly metaphors. He will use different ways of giving the teachings. But the point is being able to convey the teachings. It's not so much the words we use, the way we use. The most important thing is giving out the teachings in an efficient way that go deep into the psyche, the mind, the soul of the person or the people with whom we are interacting, to whom we speak, and they produce an effect. So that's the main thing. I myself, I had satsang with Master Kripal. He was rather a learned person, and he had this incredible capacity of giving satsang from so many points of view, from so many, explaining the teachings, starting from any religious tradition. He was very well versed in any teachings from any religious traditions, from any yoga path, and he had really this incredible capacity of giving the teachings in a very broad way. He was a very broad-minded person. Sant Ajaib Singh was a much simpler man. He didn't have all this learning that Master Kripal had. But anyway, when I listened to the satsang of Sant Ajaib Singh, I had such a great impact always, because what mattered the most was his personality, his charisma, and the capacity of touching deeply the spirit, the soul, the heart of his listeners. And this he was definitely capable of doing. His satsangs were so uplifting, and they would give that message which was specific for the moment. Anytime I listened to his satsang, there was this discovering again and again that this person, this Sadguru, is talking just what I need to hear. Anytime I went to attend these retreats and I found myself listening to the satsang, the very first satsang, which was just a revelation, like speaking out loud my inner condition. Anything that I needed to hear, it was said, because he had this capacity of tuning in with God's power. And when you tune in with God's power, it's not you talking anymore. It's God's power talking through you. It's non-power, sharp power, talking through the person. So any Sadguru who is enlightened, who is tuned in with Sadguru power, he will be able to give those teachings in any satsang which are the most appropriate for the listeners. Master Kripal, he gave it as an example, as a criterion. If you want to know who is a Sadguru, go to listen to his satsang. Don't ask questions. You don't ask any questions. Just listen to his satsang, and you will see that everything you will say, it will be an answer to your questions. So that's the beauty of satsang, that you got to listen to the satsang of a master, and he tells you exactly what you need to hear, what's the most important thing for you in that given moment. So Baba Sawan Singh, he was this incredible, charming figure. He had this beautiful personality, so charming. His face was so brilliant, so shining. His eyes were so bright. His mind was so enlightened. And he was capable of attracting so many people to his satsang because they felt so good in his satsang. Why did they go to his satsang? You don't go to a satsang when you don't feel good. You go to a satsang where you get the benefit, where you get the upliftment, the encouragement, the inspiration to follow the path, to realize your own truth. So that's why he attracted so many people to his satsang, because he had this capacity. He was a very beautiful personality. He was a very beautiful person. Moreover, he was a very honest person. He was a very honest person sticking to his own truth. He was a very coherent person sticking to his own teachings. He was not just preaching and living in a different way like many people do, like many masters, or so-called masters do. No, he was really living his own truth in the very first person, and then through his words, through his example, inspiring others to do the same. So then he says, Savan the Sangat has come together. We are all singing, waiting for your arrival, excitingly waiting for your arrival. Altogether we sing the bhajans, the melody is pure harmony. So this describes very well what is the satsang of a master. When satsangis come together, waiting for their Sadguru to arrive, and they sit in this very uplifting atmosphere. They sing the bhajans with this incredible yearning to see the face of their Sadguru. Those are very beautiful moments. This is the beauty of coming together, waiting for our Sadguru to come and deliver his satsang, to come and give us his darshan. It's so beautiful, sitting there, waiting for him, with devotion, with love, singing the bhajans, with a pure heart, with a yearning heart. And this brings about this incredible intoxication. So this very pure atmosphere, this very holy atmosphere that always is prevalent when we attend the satsang of our Sadguru is such a beautiful something. And that's the place where the real devotees always want to be, because that's the place where we get this spiritual nourishment. That's the place where we live those very special moments of our life, the best moments of our life. It's always been like this for me. I've been attending so many satsangs of Santa Jaip Singh, of course, with whom I had a very long association, 20 long years. 20 years in which I met so many times with him. And in any meeting, there were many satsangs, which I attended always with all my devotion, with all my love, with all my yearning, with all my spiritual craving. And there were those very holy moments of my life. If I have anything precious in my life, it's not so much any belonging that I might have. It's not so much anything of this world. I don't have much in this world anyway, but anyway, whatever I have, it's not so much this that's precious in my life. If anything is really precious in my life, it is those very elevated, uplifted satsangs which I attended with my Sadguru when he was in the body of Sankirpal Singh and when he was in the body of Santa Jaip Singh. So this verse tries to express very well what is attending this satsang of the Master, which is the benefit that we get when we attend this satsang. Savan, your lovely face dissolves the feathers of every soul. From your sparkling eyes emanates a light that your devotees crave. So when we go to the Master, when we go to attend his satsang, when we go to spend time with him, coming from many months, maybe could be of being far from him and going through the hurdles of life or the hardships of life, we become kind of dry, we become kind of arid. We lose contact with that inner beauty, with that inner light. So we live this, kind of carrying on life. We carry on somehow. We try to wait for the moment in which the grace will come again, in which we will be again blessed and experience that upliftment, that beauty, that intoxication, ecstasy that comes when we are in the company of the Master. So the lovely face of the Master, and in this case I'm talking about the face of Baba Sawan Singh, it says here, the souls, the fetters of every soul. That's the beauty of having the darshan of the Master. When we are in his company, if we love that Master, if we really take him to be our Sadguru, then seeing his face, seeing his eyes, this dissolves so many sufferings, so many pains that we have inside of ourselves. And we again feel that beautiful state, beautiful condition in which we feel blessed, we feel to love God and to be loved by God. And that's very beautiful. And we can experience this, then all these sufferings, all these chains, these feathers that we have inside of ourselves, that we build up in our life because of all the difficulties and challenges of life. And they all melt down and we again feel blissful, again we feel to be blessed by God, to be in his love and to be loved by him. So when you were a great example, you redeemed the most wicked beings. Without you, our lives would be a horrible mess. Yeah, all the devotees of a Master know this very well, that without the help, without the grace that comes from association with our Sadguru, our life would be a horrible mess. Just like it is a mess, the life of most of the people who do not follow the path. And in this world, if we observe, if we watch what happens around in society, in the life of most of the human beings, the news which we receive from what happens every day around this world is so scary, my God, because people are becoming kind of more and more crazy, and they are committing more and more crazy actions, horrible actions. So most of the life of the people of this world who do not follow spiritual path, who do not have a direction, is kind of a horrible mess because they don't know anything about life. They don't know why they came into this world. They don't know which is the reason for coming into this world. They don't know where they have to go. They don't know from where they're coming. So when you don't know these basic things of life, you're just bewildered. You're just confused. You are just in a terrible mess. You don't know anything. So only if just, following the stimulus of the moment, not knowing exactly why you think certain things, not knowing exactly why you say certain things, why you do certain things. Most of the people live like this, just follow their instincts, more or less like animals. There are very few people who have this capacity of discriminating, of understanding what is right to be done, what is wrong to be done, who have this capacity of choosing what's right and refusing what's wrong, choosing what's beneficial to ourselves and to others, and what's harmful to ourselves and to others. So Baba Sawan was such a great man, such a great Sadguru, who was able really to change the life of so many people. There were so many people who, when they came to him, when they began attending his satsang, they had a terrible life. Maybe committing terrible sins, really harming others, being thieves, robbers, and everything. There are many stories about people who've been so wicked that when somehow began attending the satsang of Baba Sawan Singh, their lives changed completely, and from being such great sinners, they became kind of holy people, special people. And this is the, the grace. This is the great thing in the life of a man, being able to change so radically one's tendencies, one's life, and become from a wicked somebody a very pure, a very loving, compassionate being. So there are so many stories of people going to Baba Sawan Singh in a terrible condition, and by attending his satsang, spending time in his company, having his darshan, changing so dramatically, so completely their life. Savan, pride of Jamal, you have glorified his name, have transmitted his power to whosoever was thirsty and wanted to drink. So definitely Baba Sawan Singh, through his life, through his teachings, through his brilliant example, he was able to glorify the name of Baba Jaimal Singh, who was not a very famous master. Baba Jaimal Singh had a small sangat, he wasn't a large sangat. He was not somehow the person to bring these teachings to many people. He had his own sangat, but it was a small sangat. Baba Sawan Singh was the Sadguru, was the personality who was able to bring these teachings to so many people. And in this way, he glorified the name of his master, Baba Jaimal Singh, and he made his name being known all over the world. And so many devoted souls developed this love, this gratitude for him, because it was because of his blessing to Baba Sawan Singh, means to their Sadguru, that they got this upliftment, this right understanding of life, and this inspiration to perceive themselves this spiritual realization. And he transmitted the power that he got from Baba Jaimal Singh to whosoever thirsty, hungry of God, wanted to drink and eat this precious nectar that comes from contact with the light within. So he transmitted the light to so many people. He enlightened the life and the mind of so many people. Many great masters have blessed this world. You were like the cream that covers the sweet cake. So here I'm trying to express my understanding of this master. As I said, I think that no master before him was able to bring the light, to bring the knowledge of the spiritual path, to initiate on the spiritual path as many people as he did. He initiated, they say, sometimes 120,000 people, sometimes 150,000 people. It means anyway, he initiated a lot of people. He introduced to these teachings, to the spiritual practice of Sant Mat, so many people who really became the practitioners of the path, and who experience in their own way, in their own degree, some of this spiritual transformation, of the spiritual enlightenment. So he was able really to being like the cream that covers the cake. I think that all the masters that come in this world, somehow they prepare a big cake, a big spiritual cake. This is the cake of light which all the masters bring into this world. And to my understanding, to my knowledge, Baba Sawan was like the cream that covers this cake which all the masters bring into this world. So that's what Baba Sawan was for me. He was like the greatest master up to his time, because I don't understand and I don't know of anybody that was able to accomplish what he was able to accomplish up to his time. So that's why I say this. He was the cream. He was the greatest guru, to my understanding. Many people may not agree with this, but you know, anybody may believe and think whatever they want. This is what I believe. Sawan has given to this world precious treasures never seen. Samanat the Great, the intoxicated Mastana, and the resplendent diamond, Sagru Kirpal. So, in my understanding, Baba Sawan Singh was this great guru who was able to take to the full realization, to take to the very end of the path a number of people, a number of his disciples that after him became Sadgurus themselves and were able to bring the light to so many people. So Baba Sawan Singh, beside being the great master who himself gave the teachings, conveyed the teachings, and lighted the life and the mind of so many people, beside this he was able to create wonderful Sadguru like Baba Samanat, who spread the teachings in South India, and he brought the light of Sant Mat, of the path, to so many people down there who didn't know anything about these teachings. Then Mastanaji, this very simple sadhu, who became the intoxicated one of Baba Sawan, he was also a great master who was able to bring the teachings to so many people. He was a very special somebody who was able to touch the life, to influence so positively the light of so many people. He was a great Sadguru himself. And then there was this resplendent diamond. It was Kirpal, Sadguru Kirpal. Of course, you know, we may appreciate anybody, we may appreciate any master, but it's but natural, it's obviously natural that we appreciate the most our own master. Some might have respect for any master of the past, but the one I appreciate the most is my own Sadguru. So my Sadguru Kirpal to me was that shining diamond that was able to bring the light to so many people in this world. Not only in India, he was the Sadguru who went to the West. He brought the teachings of the masters to the West, and he was able to bring out really the very deep, the very mystic side of all religions. He had this capacity of bringing out, of making people understand the very core of the teachings of their religion. I heard so many Christians telling that I never understood anything of the Gospels, of the Bible, before reading the teachings of Master Kripal, or before listening to the Satsangs in which Master Kripal explained the teachings of the Gospels, of Christ, or of the Bible. So Master Kripal was this bright being, this diamond that was able to bring out the very deep teachings of every religion. He was able to make people of any faith understanding the very deep meaning of the teachings of their religion. So to me, Sadhguru Kirpal was a very, very special somebody. It was really, to me, God manifested. Sadhguru Kirpal was for me the lighthouse that gives light to the world. Why do I say this? Why do I have this understanding about him? Because this is what I experienced with him. With him, I really experienced what it means to be spiritually awakened, what it means to be spiritually enlightened. In my meeting with him, I went so high above the human condition that I myself was amazed. I myself was surprised to witness what is possible to experience in a human body and being a human being. When you go to a master, you definitely expect something from that master. You definitely want to get something from that master. But what I got when I met Master Kirpal was so much above any of my expectations, any of my wanting, because I didn't know it was possible to experience so much. So that's why I say that in the meeting with this resplendent diamonds, Guru Kirpal, so many people like me experienced something great, something meaningful, something which was completely above their beliefs, their understanding, and this made our life so precious. This made the life of those lucky enough to have his darshan, to attend his satsang, spend time with him. It was happened. So to me, Master Kirpal was the embodiment of Baba Sawan. To me, Master Kirpal was the person through whom Baba Sawan delivered, kept conveying the blessings, the grace to humankind. So the grace that I received by Master Kirpal, through Master Kirpal, comes through Baba Sawan Singh, from Baba Sawan Singh, and from all the masters of this so-called parampar, this lineage, but especially with those very close to me, of course. Master Kirpal conveyed to me the beauty and light of Baba Sawan. By the grace of Master Kirpal, I met Sant Ajaib. By the grace of Sant Ajaib, I realized more and more deeply the value, the greatness of Master Kirpal, because I never met a devotee, a disciple of Master Kirpal who was so much in love with him. And I never met a devotee of Baba Sawan Singh who was a lover of him like Master Kirpal. So, thanks to these, my two beautiful Sadgurus, I've been getting this grace, this blessing, that these great masters are capable to convey to those yearning souls that go to them, to those very sincere, devoted souls that yearn for union with God. So, to end this satsang, I have a guide, as we usually do, a bit of a meditation. So let's try to tune in with the Master Power. Let's try to fully forget what surrounds us. Let's try to fully forget even this body in which we are sitting. Let's try to become Surat, attention. And with this surat that we are, let's look steadily, minutely in the center. Let's keep calling on Him with love and devotion by repeating the Simran. And beside these two actions of steadily looking in the center and repeating the Simran, we don't want to do anything else. So we want to forget everything, the place where we are sitting, the body in which we are, and become fully awakened Surat that is focused in the center and is capable of manifesting the light. So I'll be singing a bit the Simran, then we go a bit within and try to experience the grace of God, the grace of our Sadgurus. Satnam Radaso Ami Radaso Ami Sirio Ji Guru Sirio Ji Guru Ana Ami Ana Ami Satnam Radaso Ami Sirio Ji Guru Ana Ami Ana So, I hope that this satsang has been of inspiration to all the listeners and those who will listen maybe later on. And it has been a way of inspiring you to keep perceiving, keep pursuing your spiritual realization, your spiritual enlightenment. I thank Hazur Baba Sawan Singh for any inspiration, any inner direction that has allowed this satsang to happen and to be the way it was, the way it has been. For me, it has been interesting listening to anything that has been told, even if it was told by me. But I always find interesting to listen to my own words. And I hope it has been the same for all of you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for spending time together, even if our body may be far away from each other. But what counts is the surat, the attention, and I'm sure all those presents were attentive for here with their surat. So, all my love for you. I love you all. God bless you.